Hi, this is Will with Makeoff. If you're a commercial electrical contractor, this is how we can save you thousands of dollars by using our software to surface things in the notes that would otherwise get missed and you'd have to pay for out of pocket. So this is a Golden Corral plan set from Orlando, Florida. It's roughly 130 pages. The electrical takeoff alone should take about 4 to 6 hours on a plan of this size. Scrolling down here, you can see that there are quite a few pages. And while it's not ideal to miss a device such as an outlet, if you miss a sentence in your scope of work, it could be up to $20,000, if not more. Now, on this page, E2, you've got a lot going on. You've got the plans, you've got your table down here, you've got another diagram. It'd be fairly easy to miss one sentence, which is EC shall provide temporary lighting during construction. Now, you might add in temporary lighting automatically, but this is something that I highlight as you might miss this sentence. It's very small, it's nestled in there. And so what our software does is we take your bill of materials generated here and we flag items that might be missed. So here's that missing temporary power and lighting. Here's that note. And we've calculated about a $5,000 impact. Now, $5,000 of a $40,000 profit margin is a fairly significant hit. And so it's just over 10% of your total profit being wiped out by one sentence. We've identified 17 issues that need to be addressed here. Now, not all of them are major, but we err on the side of providing more information than less. Now, let's say that you don't really want to touch any of these things. You've got a tight deadline and you need to get this out right away. We've auto-generated a bid addendum here, which has your scope of work and automatically labels your exclusions to ensure that you have the right information that you need and you're excluding the right scope of work here. So let's see, here's the data lines. Where does it say data? Incorrect conduit size for data lines. There's that contradiction issue. It's being covered in your exclusions, which are auto-generated by our system. So great. This thing can catch things in the notes. That's fantastic. What else can it do? Well, our system is effectively a second brain for the estimator. So if I'm going to create an example project from scratch, where I'm going to come in here and say, please create a takeoff for a 60 amp disconnect switch with 240 feet of conduit and wire. Now, normally you would just click a drop down and build your estimate yourself, but our system will actually build the estimate for you. We use AI to understand what your intent is and choose spec compliant materials that match what you are looking to do. Now, this is cool and it's a great feature and it's a great thing to show. Not super valuable in and of itself. But when you look at a larger job, like the one that we just opened, you can use this to make all sorts of changes to your bid. So if I create another version of my base bid, I'm going to copy it over here. And what I'm going to do is start to add some of the things that a GC might ask for, such as an MC cable alternate bid. So in the chat over here, I'm going to say, please replace all my branch circuits with MC cable. And now what the system is going to do is recognize that this is a large change. It's going to kick it back to me and say, hey, do you want to do this? Here is what we're planning on doing and the adjustments we're planning on making. And so the estimator then can review it and choose to move forward. You can see here, it's giving me a full breakout of what it's planning on doing and where it recognizes the changes could be made. We're going to go ahead and say proceed with swap. Make assumptions on conductor sizes. Now, if you were doing this in real life, you probably wouldn't want to do this, but for the sake of time, we're just going to let the system assume what conductor sizes we're going to use. And what the software is going to do is use your estimating software next to you. So our system is going to come in and make the changes to this alternate bid. The advantage of this approach is it allows you to respond quickly to GC comments. It allows you to spin up alternate bids as requested by the specs. because our system understands the specs, it also allows us to make your bid spec compliant almost immediately. So you can see here it's thinking and it's replacing items and it's using the software right next to it. So here it swapped my EMT branch circuits. It's swapped out my EMT and used it as an example of my runs and is now adding MC cable. So if I look up MC cable in here, you can see it's added all these line items and is now sourcing this material within my pricing database. We use a national pricing database and we use a national labor unit assembly functionality. So everything is going to be fully compliant and competitive in your local area. Now, one last thing, and one of the advantages of this, especially in hard bid scenarios where you're going into bidding scenarios where there's a lot of contractors and you got to get down to a certain number. One of the things you can do with this is say that the total cost here is $366,000. We're going to ask the chat to say to drop this down to 350. We need this number to be down to 350. How can we do this? So the value engineering side of our software will help you create a spec compliant version of your bid that shaves cash off of this so that you can increase your likelihood of winning. And so what it needs to do is it's doing the math to recognize that you have to take off about 16 grand, and it's looking at your pricing opportunities. Margin, well, we don't really want to hit that yet. Low risk labor cuts. Okay, we can drop the electrical as built. These seem high. Material substitutions. We could swap this to aluminum if it's allowed. Swap brand name. Okay, scope clarifications. Confirm owner supplied. All sorts of different options. And what you can do through this is effectively make these changes the same way that we just made the MC cable changes. And what this will allow you to do is have bids that are more competitive and are down to a certain number. Now, one last thing is how this system can save you a ton of time on things like RFIs, OFCI information, and related. So in the chat here, I'm going to come in and say, please generate my RFIs using blueprint notes and issues. And what this will allow you to do is review a list of proposed RFIs to send to the GC, saving you 30 minutes, 40 minutes of assembling your RFIs ahead of your project submission. And you can do this for a lot of different administrative tasks within the bidding process. So stuff like, I got to send a quote to my lighting supplier. I have to figure out what the owner, furnished, contractor installed line items are. I have to figure out what the scope of work is for my fire alarm subcontractor. You can use this chat to build all those things out. So right here, you can see it's generated my RFI list with service and fault current. So please provide calculated available short circuit current at the service. So we can verify panel and breaker AIC ratings and arc flash labels. So it's generating all this information from the blueprint notes. You can go through here and review these. And if it all looks good, you just copy and paste this into an email and send it on to your GC. So there's a lot of different things that this system brings and a lot of different value that it can provide. So if you're interested in saving a lot of time and saving money on the jobs that you're bidding currently, please check out makeoff.com. You'll find all the information you need there, and we'd love to talk to you. Thank you.